Good evening and welcome to the COVID-19 update on Channels Television and on the day of the inauguration of the 46th President of the United States of America. I'm Millicent Walker. First, here are the highlights. More worries on non-compliance of residents in Kano and other states to the use of face masks and hand washing and other safety protocols. Unity schools are set to resume as Environment Minister says premises already decontaminated. Plus, President Joe Biden takes over amidst the challenge of COVID-19 in the United States. And globally, over 2 million people have died from the coronavirus since the outbreak emerged in China in December 2019. Over 96 million cases have been registered. These figures are based on daily totals provided by health authorities in each country, excluding later re-evaluations by statistical organizations, as has happened in Russia, Britain and Spain as well. On Monday, over 9,000 deaths and 500,000 new cases were recorded worldwide. Meanwhile, Nigeria, over the last 5 days, has continued to record over 1,000 daily cases. Last night, the NCDC confirmed 1,301 new cases and 15 more deaths in 24 hours. According to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, the numbers are going up, and so are those who have recovered as well, 91,200. Now, while Lagos is recording the highest cases, the state governor is urging residents to consider any malaria-like symptoms experienced as COVID-19 infection unless and until proven otherwise. Now, 20 other states and the Federal Capital Territory also recorded new cases in the last 24 hours in states like Oyo, Plateau, Kaduna, Enugu, Rivers, Ondo, and the rest. Now, the chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Udo Ekpeyong, has died from COVID-19 complications. According to a statement by the Publicity Secretary of the PDP in the state, Mr. Borono Bassi, he said he died of COVID-19 complications in the early hours of Tuesday. According to the Publicity Secretary, the party has been thrown into unimaginable grief while condoling with the family. Before his election as state PDP chairman last year, Mr. Ekpeyong was the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs in the state. He was known to be a strong ally of Governor Udom Emmanuel. Now, let's look at how more states are responding to the second wave of the virus. In Nigeria, health practitioners and the government appear to be stepping up action to prevent the spread across states. But the challenge seems to be human behavior, and such as we're seeing with regards to adhering to the safety protocols and the guidelines by the NCDC, such as the wearing of masks, the washing of hands, and the others. Our correspondents in Adamawa, Kano, Ondo, Delta, and Edo states followed the trends in some of the markets and public places.
Adamawa State in northeast Nigeria is one of the states under intense terrorist attacks. But that's not the focus today, as we shift attention to the compliance level of citizens of the state to the measures put in place by the NCDC to prevent coronavirus infection. In marketplaces as well as other public spaces, there's a clear non-adherence to the preventive measures by residents. The Commissioner of Health makes an appeal to all to comply to the NCDC rules.
Wearing of face masks in this secretariat now is compulsory by everyone. And that method of compulsion is going to be extended to our markets, religious houses, motor parks, and everywhere where you have businesses with a capacity of more than 50.
Staying in the north, Kano State is known for its huge population, estimated to be 13.4 million. and its principal inhabitants are Hausas and Fulanese. So far, it's not been easy achieving the needed compliance level in the state, as most residents are sighted without face masks in the markets. In the South, the Edo State government is going tough as it goes after those who fail to wear face masks in public places.
Take them to EOC. Okay. All of them tested.
In neighboring Delta State, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, being a medical doctor himself, is paying a lot of attention to the spread of COVID-19. His administration has so far invested tremendous energy in the enforcement of the COVID-19 protocols, yet it remains a big challenge.
So airlines are conscious of this and they must comply. Any contravention, they know and understand the meaning of contravening the rules and regulations put in place by NCAA. So no one will be allowed to fly from Asaba Airport without complying fully with the COVID protocol as stipulated by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, the NCDC, and the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19.
It may not have been easy to achieve full compliance in Ondo State in the southwest, but civil servants in Akure, the state capital, have started complying to the directive that everyone coming in and out of the government offices must wear face masks.
It's very, very important that every one of us should abide by the protocols and follow it strictly, because this thing is already here, and we believe if you begin to follow the protocol as it has been directed, everything will be okay. You'll be living your life, accordingly. That's the way I see it.
The message across the states is that a full compliance with the COVID-19 preventive protocols will go a long way in causing a drop in the number of infections in the country now that there's a second wave.
And to the nation's capital, where the Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abubakar, is calling for a proactive approach in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. He's appealing to the Minister of Education for the establishment of an environmental health department in tertiary institutions, whose importance, he says, is further reinforced by the pandemic. He stated this during a visit to the Minister of Education to present the certificate of decontamination and disinfection of Unity schools.
During the reopening of the schools, the Minister of Environment, in collaboration with the Minister of Education, we undertook an exercise of decontaminating and disinfecting the schools before reopening, provided surveillance equipment and also stationed environmental health officers to be able to guide the students and teachers in observing the protocols of COVID prevention. And we'd like to also appeal to the Honorable Minister to implement the 8th resolution of the National Council on Environment, which we held, when was that, last year, and called for the establishment of environmental health departments in tertiary institutions. Yes, there are departments that may have environmental health programs, but this strictly to be able to produce environmental health officers, because we have seen how important these environmental health officers are, especially during this pandemic.
Well, to talk some more about the virus, Dr. Shalom Moni is a public health physician. He joins us via Zoom. We'd like to thank you for joining us on the program. I'd like to first get your take on the approach this time by states to curb the spread of the second wave. Dr. Oni, if you can hear me, I'm asking about your take with regards to the measures by states to curb the spread of the second wave.
All right. Good afternoon, Millicent. Actually, if you look at what is going on across the country right now, the level of compliance to NPIs across board is below 50%. Schools have reopened. Not all the schools have complied with the hand washing, with face masking, and with social distancing. A lot of classrooms are still jam-packed. These things are going on. I don't know what the government is doing about that to ensure that, the schools comply with the MPIs. If you go to motor parks, vehicles are still, boarding and they are still loading full capacity. Nothing is being done, to those the commuters. You see a lot of commuters who are not wearing face masks. In fact, it's up almost about 1 in 5 of commuters that are using face masks in a vehicle. So this a lot of violation to the MPIs is ongoing out there, and we are not seeing a lot of measures from the government to clamp down on this and ensure that people actually comply. Large gatherings are still taking place in disguise. So right now everything is just chaotic. So we hope the government will be able to come in, forcefully and enforce all these things such that the second wave, we can play to on time and bring that off.
Okay, Dr. Oni, tell us about the measures in places like markets and, perhaps public places. And this is the protocol. For example, wearing of the face mask. What should one do? And this is compared to when one is indoors, the use of the face mask.
Well, it has been said that in public places, face masks must be worn. Either a cloth face mask or a medical face mask. But let me be quick to say something here. The second, the new strain that we are dealing with here is known for high transmissibility and infectivity. So that means the cloth face mask right now may not do anything, in curbing the spread of the new strain. So it's maybe we need to begin to look at everybody coming on medical face masks now. In fact, in some countries, the face masks are now doubled, such that to increase the capacity of the face mask, to prevent penetration. So in public places, you are expected to wear your face mask either in the vehicle, in the marketplace, but all these things are not happening. I go out a lot on the streets. In vehicles, I see all these things. It looks as if I can say the level of compliance we had in the first wave is far, far better than what we are right now. And it is sad because the second wave we are recording more mortalities, we are recording more morbidities, and yet the compliance is still poor. So for me, I think an emergency needs to be declared, on the issue of COVID-19 containment. So we need to work on these things. The government needs to see what they can do within the next couple of hours. Should we open school? Should we not open school? These are questions. If people cannot comply with the MPIs, then maybe we need to look at going for another national lockdown again. Maybe for
I'd like to thank you. I know a lot of people wouldn't want to hear that, but indeed a lot to do in balancing public health and livelihoods. Thank you so much, Dr. Shalom Oni, public health physician, for joining us at this time.
Thank you, Millicent.
Still to come on the program, we look at challenges around testing for COVID-19 in the country. Stay with us. And to Cross River State, South Nigeria, where the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Betta Adu, says the number of confirmed cases and deaths are not the true picture of the number of cases in the state because of its limited capacity to test. While asking for better welfare package for frontline workers, Dr. Adu also wants the federal government to assist the state in equipping its isolation centers, among others.
Presently, for the confirmed cases, we have about 169 confirmed cases in Cross River State. However, this is not the true picture we have on ground because we do not have laboratory that can help us do very, very massive testing at the community level. Before this time, we used to do community sampling and community testing, of course, because you definitely know that there's community transmission going on at this time. Unfortunately, after the loss of our labs during the NSAS protest in October, we've been unable to do community sampling, large samplings, and testing in the state, and so we don't really have the true picture of what's going on in the state right now.
Meanwhile, Nollywood filmmaker EDay Innocence, popularly called One Soul, joins a list of Nigerian celebrities who has had to deal with the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The filmmaker, who wrapped the year 2020 with the shooting of his still-in-production female Robin Hood-type movie, shares details of his experience with Channels Television.
I came back from a production set and I was already feeling some type of way while I was leaving set. When I got home that day, and after that day, the night was terrible. I was coughing, my temperature was high, I couldn't breathe, I was sweating. And I was like, what's going on? Okay, maybe it's malaria. Well, we call this thing malaria typhoid. And I asked my boy, go get me Coartem, get me this, get me that. And I started taking it. The next day was boom. So I got in the car, I went to do a test. It was a driveway test, and it came out positive. And then that's when I knew I was, okay, so finally COVID caught me. So I spoke to my doctor, I said, stay home, isolate. I was home isolating. The second, the third, the fourth, the fifth day was terrible. As at the fourth day, there was stuff already coming out of my two hands. I can still see them because they're already drying off. I was having rashes. Rash was coming out of my body. And it's not a good feeling. You know, it's not a good feeling. It's a very terrible situation you don't want to be in.
One Soul there and his experience with COVID-19. Dr. Nze Akanem is a public health physician and pharmacist. I would like to thank you for joining us on the program. I'd like to begin by asking, so we have tested close to 2 million people. Are we moving fast enough nationwide?
Well, I would say that we have achieved some considerable milestones so far, but with the new situation that we're having with rising cases of COVID-19, I believe that we might need to be more aggressive in terms of testing. And that is where I feel that we should deploy the rapid diagnostic testing kits because of the turnaround time, which is much faster. As at the last time I checked, I realized that over 800 tests can be carried out in just a day in a particular facility. And with that, we can test more persons, and more persons will be diagnosed and provided with care as far as COVID-19 is concerned. So far, we have tried, but I think we should be faster. We should achieve more if we must nip this COVID-19 on the bud.
So looking at the risk of the rapid diagnostic tests, the NCDC has recently published guidelines for the AG, the approved antigen-based rapid diagnostic test, but it isn't like the PCR, isn't it? Is it?
No, it's not like the PCR. It's not like the PCR. In terms of specificity, the rapid diagnostic testing is about 98%, but the PCR is almost nearly 100%. So what we are recommending is that for the larger population, we should make use of the rapid diagnostic testing, which can go around with a high turnaround time, and it's much more accessible, it's much more portable. But we can reserve the PCR testing for people with symptoms, people that are having full symptoms of COVID-19. That way we can manage resources and we can reach out to more people with the testing of COVID-19 as much as possible.
Also, the Lagos State governor, for example, said that those who are feeling unwell or who might have malaria should actually come in for COVID-19 tests until proven otherwise. Do you agree with that method in, of course, enhancing our testing?
I absolutely agree. As a matter of fact, with the alert level right now, the alert level for COVID-19 in Lagos State has been raised to red. And that means that everyone that has symptoms similar to COVID-19 is regarded as a COVID-19 patient until proven otherwise. That means that anybody that comes down with fever, cough, difficulty in breathing, even malaise and, loss of sense of taste and smell should be considered as a COVID-19 patient and tested until the test proves that person otherwise. So it's necessary that at this time we raise that alert level to red so that we can have more diagnoses and we can be able to dictate more cases of COVID-19 in Lagos and, of course, in Nigeria as a whole.
All right, we'd like to appreciate your time. Dr. Nsa Bassey-Akanem is a public health physician and pharmacist. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, and lastly, Joe Biden has been sworn in as the 46th president of the United States, ending one of the most dramatic political transitions in American history. Now, he took his oath of office just a while ago, and his vice, Kamala Harris. One of the tasks, and a very potent one at that for them, will be tackling the coronavirus pandemic, which has seen the U.S. in #1 total confirmed cases, over 24 million, and also the total number of deaths, #1 as well, over 400,000. President-elect Joe Biden's first days in office will be dominated by, of course, the pandemic and the economic emergency that it caused. He has frequently talked about the need to use his first 100 days, indeed, to make significant progress on the challenges that are facing the country. And don't forget to protect yourself. Wear a mask in public. Wash your hands with soap and water. Stay away from people with no face mask. You can take further look at our website. It has more updates on the pandemic, the latest that's happening in the United States and around the world. I'm Millicent Walker. Thank you for watching. Stay safe.